Alright, this is kind of awkward. Today is construction day number 13 or 14. So what I'm gonna do, I mentioned it yesterday, is all these metal straps that are just kind of like hanging there, not doing anything right now. I'm gonna get them wrapped around and nailed down. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up a few sheets of sheathing. I have to start on the end pieces. I really can't work my way up too high. I don't have a jigsaw, so I can't even cut out the pieces that would go around the wheel well. I ordered a jigsaw on Amazon yesterday, so it should be coming today. Free 1-day shipping with Amazon Prime, like what? So yeah, I'll try to get a few sheets of the sheathing up. So I've been thinking about how I can do like a little template so that I can transfer the measurements or basically like the cut lines onto the actual roof joist. So I think I kind of came up with something and we'll see how it goes. Tree trimming complete. All right, so I got all that strapping done. That's good, buttoned up, perfect. All right, now what I want to show you is something that I've been working on for like the past hour or so. Before I show you that, I've got one of the roof joists up. So when I ordered all these roof joists, I ordered one extra one just so that I could do like a test and see how it actually all kind of worked together. So the first one that I cut here actually turned out pretty good. Now I want to show you exactly kind of how I did it, because the cuts that have to be made at the end in order for the joist to actually sit properly on the top plate is kind of like, it's a little tricky, right? It's not like the easiest cut to make. Alright, I think the ooh, now I understand why Casey Neistat breaks so many cameras, is these Gorilla Pods that this thing is sitting on right now, not f***ing strong enough. So this is an example of the cut end of the roof joist. Now it's really hard to see just because of how small of an angle there is, but this is actually cut on a 2-degree angle. So if I was to lay this perfectly horizontally, there would be a slight angle here. So that 2-degree angle allows this to stay, you know, perpendicular straight up and down, while the rest of it follows the slope of the roof. Now on either end of the joist, there's, I believe they're called bird's mouth cuts. So what I created here was like this little jig. And what this little jig does, it allows me to actually trace out the same cuts on each and every joist. So if I just follow this around, so you can see here that I have obviously the line up, the line down. So this, for example, this is 3.5 inches from right here to right here. So that will fit perfectly on top of the top plate. This line here follows this same angle, so these two lines are parallel with each other. And then obviously this line here is perpendicular to this one right here. So I figured out like the dimensions and the angle here for this, labeled it, obviously this is the high end because there's a different cut on the bottom and on the top. And then I just attached this piece on the back and this piece on the bottom here, so I could put it up against the 2x6 and get basically the same lines in every single one that I do. So if I flip this around here, I'm gonna fix my low end piece because this is gonna be a different cut. And then all I have to do is just make sure everything's lined up here, and then just draw these lines. Then I can cut on these lines here, and then I'll have the right shape to fit on top of the top plate. All right, so the problem that I'm running into using a circular saw to cut out these bird's mouth, I think that's what they're called, is that essentially like the nature of the circular saw is obviously that the blade is a circle. When you're running the circular saw all the way to this end here, the top part of the blade will cut to this edge, but since there's that circular part of the saw, on the bottom, it doesn't you don't get the full cut. For example, there could be like that much at the bottom that isn't, you know, cut all the way. Then essentially on the bottom, there's like very big gaps where the wood actually isn't cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the main part of the cut with the circular saw, and then I'm gonna finish off the cuts using a jigsaw, but I don't have the jigsaw with me here today, so I'm gonna have to bring that to the job site tomorrow. All right, so I hope I've explained that and you somewhat understood that. What I'm gonna do before I go today, because I'm gonna have some lunch, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some of the sheathing up on either of the ends to prevent the house from actually racking while I'm getting the joists up. And then what I can do is I can cut all the joists to the actual length that they need. I can then, you know, transfer on all the measurements, and then when I come back tomorrow, all I have to do is start cutting them. Then I can start positioning them on the tiny house. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing for the sheathing is dry fitting everything just so obviously that it fits. We're going to be laying down some construction adhesive. Then what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to fire in, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 nails just to get the sheet like secured onto the house. And then I've got some 2-inch exterior screws here, and I'm also going to screw around as well. I'm also going to screw it around the perimeter and through the field as well. I'll probably kind of mix it up, maybe like 25% nails, 75% screws. Just so you know, there's like pros and cons to using nails, there's pros and cons to using screws. Screws are very good for when you want to hold 2 things together. Nails are very good for if you want to, I guess you could say, if there's going to be a lot of force kind of going like this way, say this is a piece of plywood and say this is like a studded wall or a joist, if there's going to be forces kind of like that acting on it, you want to be using a nail more often than not. A screw will help keep those pieces kind of together and not pull apart. So the sheathing acts as obviously holding everything together. It also provides another point of connection between the wall studs and the subfloor joists, which is the thing that is like attached to the trailer. So we want to kind of have a combination of nails and screws. That's just my opinion on it. So I got all those pieces of sheathing up. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I think if I spend the next, I don't know, maybe it'll take me about an hour or so. I'm gonna cut all the rafter pieces. I'm just gonna cut the ends. Then in the morning I can come in and cut all the bird mouths, or I don't know what the hell they're called. So I can do that in the morning and then start getting all these joists up. And we'll have a roof. All right, let's do it. That's the end of today's vlog. See you guys tomorrow. Peace!